I want to talk to you about environmental compliance. So all this month we've been talking about HAZCOM, which is related to chemicals. Well, chemicals get outside, what do they affect? The environment. So we have standards that we have to follow to stay in compliance with the environment. So what is environmental compliance? It's the practice of adhering to laws, regulations, and standards designed to protect the environment and public health. So some examples is the Clean Water Act. It controls discharges into rivers, lakes, coastal waters through National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or they call it NEPDES, permit program. That's what we have. We have a NEPDES permit, or they may also call it a SID permit, State Indirect Discharge. So we have two of them, one for plant 1, one for plant 3. Why would we have that? Eco. Wastewater. Alright, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, they call it RCRA, governs hazardous waste from creation to disposal. Why would that be important here? Do we produce hazardous waste? Sometimes, on occasion, maybe once a year, something like that. But it also applies to all of them chemical containers. Corrosives, they're all hazardous. So we have to follow a certain governance to be able to get them picked up, get them shipped off, those kinds of things. Everybody's heard of EPA. It's always EPA this, EPA that. Well, that's the Environmental Protection Agency. They oversee most federal compliance efforts, and then the state and local agencies will add their additional requirements as well. We live in Butler County, Alabama. If you go to Montgomery County, there's probably a different local standard that you have to follow. Each place is different. All right, next. Washing obligations. So as I mentioned, we hold two state NEPDES permits, or SID permits. One for plant 1 E-coat, one for plant 3 E-coat. So these permits limit the tolerance of heavy metals and other toxic organics found in wastewater that can be discharged to our receiver, which is Greenville Waterworks, and to the state. So what we release to the city, they also report to the state as well. Why is that important? Who can tell me why that's important? What would the impact be if something got released to the city?
It goes to regular water.
It goes directly to the water. And where does that water directly go from there?
Your house.
Your house, your backyard, the creek. You know, it goes everywhere. A couple of weeks ago, we had the opportunity to visit Greenville Waterworks and tour their facility and kind of understand their process. So I'll kind of explain it a little bit. On average, they can process roughly 1 million gallons a day. That's a lot of water coming through there. Washing accounts for 5 to 7% of that between plant 1 and 3 combined. 5 to 7% of that's 50, 70,000. We're pushing a lot of water through there. And when you think of Greenville, mainly a lot of Butler County, majority, we're a big portion of that. That's why it's important we stay mindful of what we're putting down the drain, what we're washing around. You know, if we're cleaning out buckets around Eco, we need to be mindful of where it's going, because this is exactly where it's going. Go back one more. So this is the main drill auger. It brings the water up and then it flows through. This is basically what we have in Eco. That's their clarifier and sludge tanks. But theirs is full of microbes, bacteria that break down organic waste in the sewer. That's basically what it's for. But by the end of the process, this is what comes out. Clean water. I don't know if you want to take a cup and drink it right there. I'd let it go through the creek a little bit more and then maybe. But at the end of the day, you're getting bad water, converted it to good water. And from there it goes back into the creek. That place is off of 31. It's 2 miles right down the road. Persimmon Creek, I think it's the creek that it goes back into. And then it kind of branches off from there. But they also pull from it to get your tap water from the creeks, rivers. So it all kind of just makes it circle back around itself. So that's why it's important we stay mindful of what we put through Eco and down any other drains like that. Okay. So what I want you to think about, you walk out and buy a brand new house somewhere in the country where it's nice and quiet. Well, you got a creek in your backyard. Which one are you gonna choose? You gonna choose the creek that's got all these contaminants in it, all the grass is dying, nothing's in it, it's nasty, you're not gonna use it, who knows what's in there, or are you gonna choose the nice, healthy looking one? Which one's gonna make it viable? You gonna pay 200 grand for this, or 200 grand for a nice, healthy environment to stay around? That's just kind of what I want you to think about when it comes to where your chemicals are going, what you're using them for. If anything spills on the floor, we got to be very mindful of where it goes, because this is where it ends up at the end of the day. Even rainwater, it's outside. You think, oh, I can't clean it up out here. It's going. When it rains, it'll wash it off. But yeah, when it rains, this is where it goes. Because I don't know if you've looked out back, usually where our pallet storage is, right behind that is a runoff. So if anything spills outside, that's exactly where it runs off to. So just be mindful and pay attention to what's around you. If you spill anything, you gotta let us know so we can prevent this from happening, okay?